Is for Ann Skipsey. This current council has on occasion chosen to give certain developments, quotes, expeditious treatment, end of quotes, at the expense of closer scrutiny, more rigorous requirements, and/or public engagement and comment. Do you feel this is defensible?
I think there were several times during this council term where things felt that they were rushed through. Recently, we dealt with the Pheasant Glen proposal, and I know people are saying, yes, this has been waiting for 10 years or more. It's been sitting out there. The proposal that came before council was dealt with in 1 month, and it's different from what was originally approved. So I was concerned that we were rushing it, and I asked staff whether or not this was our regular process, and they confirmed that no, it wasn't. We should have had the environmental studies in front of us so that we could make an informed decision, and we didn't have that, and it is concerning. And I'll leave it at that.
I just want to comment on what Councillor Skipsey said. I've been criticized during this last term for actually asking questions. And when a proposal comes forward, I read it, I delve into it, I look at it, and I think, we can make this better. We need to ask a question. What about this? What about that? I'll give you a perfect example of why it's important to ask questions, and some on council don't. When we built the home hardware store, Brian Virgin, the owner, wanted us to deliver product off 2nd Avenue. We said, no, let's do it from the back, and that's so it's better.
Okay, very quickly. That project has been going on for a long time. Pheasant Glen that you just heard about. And we just heard about a lot of applause from unresponsive by people saying it takes too long, there's too many hindrances and so on. We set a clear goal line. We said if you can come up with these 2 reports on the environment, you can build these resort condominiums, resort tourist accommodations that we've been looking for over 10 years. There's been different iterations, but we know basically what we wanted. The development came up and we liked it. I liked it. We set a clear goal. If they meet that goal, they can build. That's a fair day.
This next question is for Doug Mackay-Dunn. Your platform emphasizes a process where all key parties are involved and win-win, that's in quotes, solutions emerge. In the real world, though, some outcomes and interests are contradictory or opposed. Some residents believe fundamentally that urban growth should not extend into Qualicum Beach's greenbelt lands. How does the, quotes, win-win approach address this situation?
The process is community-based planning, where the community has actual input that's listened to and does affect the final outcome. If the final outcome is supported by a majority of the community, it is a collaborative solution, and it is a fact, by definition, a win-win solution. Thank you.
The next question is addressed to Robert Filmer. At times it seems that senior staff make, quotes, the real decisions, and quotes, and elected officials merely ratify them. How do you see the role of elected officials in relation to senior staff?
I feel that is one of the most important relationships that town council has to have is with senior town staff. The respect level needs to be there on both sides, and I haven't seen it in council meetings. It is important. We've got an excellent group of senior town staff, from our CAO all the way down to our planning department to our town engineer, and they deserve a lot more respect than they are given. When it comes to projects, I talk about this roundabout project where certain candidates are wanting to scrap the project, and no, I maybe do not feel that it is the right location, but the amount of money you have all put in and the time that our town staff have already put into this project, if we choose to scrap this project, it is not going to restore the relationship we have with our town staff. Thank you.
In my 20 years as a councillor, I have learned one very important lesson: respect. Respect for each other and respect for staff. They work hard. And when you send something back without careful consideration, just because you don't want to make a decision, you're not respecting their work. You're wasting money because you're wasting their time. Respect is key. Thank you.
This next question is addressed to Dave Woolley. How realistic is it for Qualicum Beach to address the issue of affordable housing?
how much more fluff do you want? I think we've spoken about that one enough. I think.
Through a partnership with our land leased to a nonprofit, the BC Housing money, federal money, we can build affordable housing. It's been done before, I've done it. It's possible, thank you.
I don't think this is a large turn or something we can do on a large scale, but I do want to acknowledge and appreciate all the work that went into the Qualicum Park Village, the former Kiwanis Village. That's a great asset to this community.
Exactly. We heard earlier that we don't do anything. Well, that's not quite exactly true. The property on which Kiwanis Housing is built was originally donated by the town, which is parkland. That's a pretty powerful statement that we sort of basically gave up from parkland to build 35 rental units that are very affordable. We also made a bylaw that allows for secondary suites anywhere in town. I was told it's going to be very hot potato. We had a focus group, we made it work, and we see some uptake. So we have done more than nothing. Thank you.
This next question is addressed to Robert Filmer. As a former air cadet, what is your position on the increase in the number of flights at the airport?
I started flight training when I was 11 years old. I joined the Air Cadet program when I was 12 years old and progressed through, and I then followed my career path, and I'm now working for an airline. Our airport is an absolute, what's the right word? Gem and necessity to the town of Qualicum Beach. We cannot afford to lose our airport. Yes, some traffic at times may be excessive, but we look at, I hear on the street that helicopter traffic is excessive. Our air ambulance is coming in and out of our airport to transport our residents to the hospital. Our firefighting helicopters are fighting your backyards so your houses don't burn down. Yes, some of the traffic, like I said, is excessive, and we can control that, but we can't afford to lose our airport. Thank you.
I think also when we're considering that vital piece of infrastructure, we also need to look to the long term. We have a very strong tourist sector already, but that airport could be a vital hub to bring tourists from YVR who are arriving from all over the world into our community. So I do think that in terms of the airport, it's something that we should treasure and try to build up, not something we should try to limit. Thank you.
This next question is addressed to Tunis. An agenda item for tomorrow's council meeting has the town applying for a funding grant for the Village Way/Highway 19A roundabout. Given the timing of this matter, it would appear that the town is playing politics with our tax dollars to influence votes and deflect frustration over the recent criticism of the Memorial roundabout. Please comment.
Well, we are in politics. That's what we do. No, we have a plan. It was an age-friendly study that we done, traffic study that accommodates about 42 solutions to areas where we have conflict, crash data, and so on. And there's been identified 4 actually roundabouts. One on Memorial and Rupert. And I've got a letter here from people with a petition saying this would be a disaster. A future council will have to tear it up. It's looking good. It works well. We're looking at another one down Memorial and the Island Highway, which I think is going to be an excellent addition and an entrance to our community and slowing down the traffic along our waterfront. The other one, well, we can discuss that, but I'm in favor of it. That's my opinion, so you know. The other one is on Eagle Crest, which is the bottom of Village Way and the Island Highway. We know it's expensive. I've been saying for years we should have a roundabout there. We've designed it. It's completely ready to go. Now we got an opportunity for a grant. Why would we not take that chance? Thank you.
Yes or no to the possibility of a roundabout at the foot of Memorial Avenue?
Right now, yes, because I haven't seen any other thing that would say that it should be there.
No.
Yes or no? Just it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Or you can't ask staff. Okay, yes.
Absolutely, yes. If you want to talk to me about the access afterwards, send me an email, yes.
Yes, thank you.
I have voted no.
No.
After everything I've read, I voted yes.
This is an interesting question. What about Pheasant Glen? Develop or not? And why don't we start with that?
Do I have to say yes or no?
Sure.
Develop or not?
Yeah, it says develop or not. So
Develop. We've got an opportunity to do tourist accommodations there, and that's what we're doing.
That's been on the books since 2005. That's what we asked them to do, and that's what should be done there. That's what they're putting forward. I find it ironic that somebody on council made the comment the other night at the council meeting where it was discussed and said, we're moving too fast. And I went, 13 years. That's too fast.
Yeah, Pheasant Glen was a problem over the last council prior to this one, because they tried to change the goalposts and turn it into a residential development. Now they're doing what they're supposed to do. So absolutely, it should go ahead. I have no problem with it.
This has been part of the OCD for over a decade. They've been doing it a very long time. If they're filling out all the check boxes, then yeah.
Yes, I vote in favor of it. I've been on council for a long time. In 2005, I thought the master plan was excellent. I thought the environmental studies were excellent. I thought the water studies were excellent. And in 2005, I voted for it. And it's really a spot for tourism. 13 years later, it came back to us, and the master plan was missing lots of information. The environment plan was missing a lot of information. The water system was missing a lot of information. We sent it to the Advisory Planning Commission, which we have, and I sat through the whole meeting of the Advisory Planning Commission, 2.5 hours, and they said no. So I said, we need to finish these studies. I'm for it, but let's do the studies.
Council, in its wisdom, passed the motion, subject to an analysis. And if the analysis is favorable, then the project is to move forward. That was a decision of council.
Yeah, I don't think we can be dwelling on projects anymore. Yes, let's get it done.
I actually like the project. I'm just concerned that we follow proper process and procedures. And that's why I voted no, only because of the process that was being followed, not because of the development.
Yes.
do you have anything to add to this? Jean, should the town take an active role in the development of a new small-scale medical center and in attracting new docs to our area?
Of course. When you look around us, Parksville has an urgent care center, Nanaimo has a hospital, Courtney Comox has a hospital, Port Alberni has a hospital. What happened to us?
Parksville has a beautiful facility that does not have enough doctors.
And as I mentioned earlier about Comox, their model, I think we should get behind it as a town. That's the only way we can make sure that we get doctors here for the people. And we get patient-centered healthcare. Thank you.
Earlier this year, I was at a national convention in Nova Scotia. I was reading a local paper. They're losing all their medical graduates to Ontario because they have facilities exactly like what the Perfect Storm is proposing. I have a guy who works at the gym I go to. He's about to graduate medical school himself and start residency. He desperately wants more information. This is something that could draw in precisely the young medical professionals we need. Thank you.
I've always totally supported bringing doctors and better facilities to our town. We wanted a small hospital back when we got the health care center. That's what was given to us by the provincial government at the time. I don't think it was adequate. I would have liked to still seen a hospital here. But we have a challenge right now of bringing the doctors in. One of the things we can do is work with the local doctors that are bringing students to encourage those students to come back in a year when they graduate to work in our town.
We've been working with the Perfect Storm Group for a length of time, developing what works. They've done the question and answers for all the doctors, what they need to get done, what they need to have this facility. We have all that information on paper. Now we've talked to developers saying, what is it we can get this done? What do we need to get this done? I talked with them 2 days ago, and we're ready. We're ready to pull the pin. We're getting dangerously close. So yes, let's get it done.
Just recognizing that there is a doctor shortage in our community, some members of council met with staff from the Ministry of Health at the UBCM recently to discuss and advance the proposal from the perfect storm, and it sounds like we're on the right track. We just have to be persistent. And there is also land that the town has provided the province with, 3.5 acres next to Eagle Park. So, and I think what we need in this community is 24/7 care. Thank you.
Some intriguing questions as to where you live and what you do. So, Scott Harrison, are you a real estate agent in Parksville, and do you live in Parksville?
Hi, I don't live in Parksville. I live in Qualicum Beach. I was working in insurance. I actually quit that job a few months back because as an insurance agent, you're a fiduciary, which would mean that every single time as a fiduciary, as a counselor, a client came up with a business, I'd be in conflict. So I'd basically be a counselor who has to recuse himself from 3/4 of the decisions, which would make me pretty useless. I've never worked in real estate. I am not a realtor.
Question for you, Brian. Are you a realtor with 460 Realty Company in Parksville?
I am. In saying that, I've also hung up my license until the election is over, not doing any real estate work. And I've vowed to everyone that I've talked to so far, and I'll vow to you, should I be elected as a mayor of Qualicum Beach, I will hang up my license for good the very next day. Would you be open to increasing the bus line to Coombs, Arrington, Lee, QB, go to Coombs, Arrington, Parksville, and back to QB? That's a lot of QBs. Currently, our bus system is lacking. We all know that. It goes to the 901 up and down. It doesn't do much going across. Numerous discussions we've had, bringing me up to speed as what needs to be done, and talking with people. Truly believe we need to do something out of QB. It can't be done through 901. They're not going to do it for us. Not at a reasonable cost. I think we might have to start looking at options. You know, for one bus to make that route, you know, it'd probably make it to QB every hour, I'm guessing. So, hour and a bit. So maybe that's an option we could look at, is getting our own bus to make that little trip around. I think that'd be very beneficial for all residents.
This one is directed to Tunis. What are your views on short-term rentals, and what direction do you think the town should go? Then it says taxation, question mark, licensing, question mark.
I think for the short-term rentals, I don't think it's a good idea for us, because we talked about affordability for people who work and live and try to find a place to rent. It's very hard to do when you're competing with these short-term rentals. So as a council, I don't think we're in favor of that. I don't think I would be in favor of it. If a new council came along, I would not be in favor of having short-term rentals. But I think we should at least level the playing field. And this is something that the province and other communities are struggling with, because they go online and some of the platforms have agreed to pay some things to the communities or something to tour associations. But in my opinion, for our little community to have short-term rentals competing with hotel accommodations and basically filling places that could be used for people that work and trying to live in this town is counterproductive. Thank you.
I think it's horribly unfair to the people that have vacation rentals here, that Airbnbs are getting their license, are getting their business without getting a business license. People with licenses in town should get that work, not the ones who don't have it. Very adamant about that.
This question is to Doug. What experience do you have with substance abuse issues in the community?
Well, I started many, many years ago in the police office, buying drugs from the various heroin traffickers, number one. I also chaired the substance abuse working group consisting of 3 municipalities, healthcare providers, social workers, addiction specialists. I have lots and lots of experience in dealing with this problem and resolving the problem with the community. Thank you.
So one interesting piece of information was published recently is from the BC Coroner Service. They looked at 872 fatalities from overdoses in BC. And the thing that sort of jumped out for me, I suggest you actually look it up yourself. 44% of those fatalities were people who were employed. 75% of those fatalities were in homes people own themselves. The 3 largest sectors of employees in Vancouver Island, 41% were in the trades, 23% were in sales and service, and 9% were in farms, agriculture, or landscaping. And that sounds a lot like our local business sector.